Most hikers don't know this, but they're actually choosing the wrong footwear. After hiking and backpacking hundreds of miles in both boots and trail runners, I'm gonna tell you which one's better. Both trail runners and boots have their pros and cons, but this isn't just a theory here. I've been hiking and backpacking for over a decade, so this comes from real experience. But I'm not just trying to make another boots are bad, trail runners are better video, because the truth is both can be right depending on your hike. The real problem is that a lot of hikers just automatically buy big hiking boots because they just think that's what they need, when for most normal hiking and backpacking, they actually don't need that much shoe. So I'm gonna break it down. Comfort, weight, protection, support, what conditions they're better in, and then tell you which one I'd actually choose. So the obvious thing about trail runners is that they're a lot lighter. You're gonna have more ankle mobility and it's gonna let you move faster. This is a huge deal when you're looking to get a lot of miles done in a single day. And the weight matters a lot more than people think. It's not just about what the shoe weighs when you pick it up and have it in your hand. It's like you're lifting the shoe thousands and thousands of times over the course of your hike. Think about that after 10, 15, or even 20 miles. Even a small difference starts to feel like a big difference. This is one of the biggest reasons I prefer trail runners for most of my hikes. They make me feel less clunky, less restricted, and usually less tired by the end of the day. Trail runners are significantly lighter. This is gonna let you move faster and you're gonna end up less fatigued by the end of the day. Runners also give you greater ankle mobility, so this can make it more comfortable over long distances. Trail runners are really breathable. This is great in the heat and they dry really fast. This is especially important in warm weather or on trips where your feet are probably gonna get wet anyway. A lot of people buy waterproof boots thinking their feet will stay completely dry. But once water gets inside them, whether it's from rain, sweat, or creek crossings, those boots can take a really long time to dry. Trail runners usually don't try to keep every drop of water out. Instead, they breathe better and dry faster. For a lot of three-season hiking, I would rather have a shoe that dries quickly than a shoe that traps moisture all day long. Now, a downside of trail runners is that they're gonna offer you less protection against trail obstacles like tree roots or rocks. They're also not the best option for certain terrain like off-trail routes where you could have a rock potentially falling on your foot. Now, this is where you need to be honest about the terrain that you'll be hiking in. If you're hiking on mostly maintained trails, trail runners are usually plenty. But if you're gonna do a lot of off-trail travel, you're gonna walk through sharp rocks, screed, deadfall, or terrain where your feet are constantly getting hit, then that extra protection from a boot can start to make a lot more sense. Trail runners are comfortable, but they're not magic. They usually won't protect your feet the same way that a heavier boot will. Boots, on the other hand, they provide excellent support, and things like shanks in the sole can help you in situations where you're walking on really rocky terrain. Boots are typically abrasion resistant and can offer a higher durability over time. Boots can have a benefit if you're carrying a really heavy load. This is probably one of the biggest reasons I would still consider boots. If you're carrying a really heavy pack, hiking through rough terrain, going somewhere cold, muddy, snowy, or just more technical all around, boots can definitely be a good tool. They're great at doing things like providing more structure underfoot and providing more warmth. So I'm definitely not saying that boots are useless. I'm just saying they're more specific than a lot of people actually think. For a normal day hike or even a typical backpacking trip on established trails, a lot of hikers are probably really overbuying here. Now, here are some thoughts that may be a little controversial. So most people think about boots and they think about ankle support, but in reality, you shouldn't be relying on your shoe for ankle support. You should be building that strength before you get out there. Now, that doesn't mean that ankle support is fake or that boots never help, but I do think that people use boots as a shortcut instead of building up that strength, the balance, and confidence to walk on that uneven terrain. If your ankles always feel weak or unstable, the answer probably isn't just buying a bigger boot. It's probably something more like spend more time out hiking or doing exercises to help with that than just relying on a boot to make up for you. Because ultimately, a boot won't really make up for that and you'll be more prone to injury. So which one would I choose? For most people in most situations, trail runners win hands down. I wear trail runners on almost all of my trips. Even a few years ago when I was in the Cloud Peak Wilderness and I was intending to do about 100 miles that week, which I did hit, I just took a single pair of trail runners with me. That trip is a good example because it wasn't just a quick walk on a smooth trail. It was a real backpacking trip with real mileage, real terrain, and enough time on my feet to know whether my footwear was working or not. And for me, trail runners were the better choice. I could move really efficiently, my feet didn't feel trapped, and I didn't feel like I was carrying extra weight on my feet all day. And let me tell you, there were plenty of water crossings, especially on the last day of that hike. So unless you're carrying a really heavy load, which I don't really recommend to begin with, or you're in more extreme scenarios in terrain, which may venture more into the mountaineering area of things rather than just the hiking and backpacking area of things, I'm gonna recommend trail runners. So for most people, trail runners are the better choice, and while it can depend on your hike, most people really overestimate the amount of boot that they do need. Here's the simple way that I would decide. Use trail runners if you're mostly hiking on established trails, you're a fair weather hiker, you're trying to move really efficiently, you've got big mileage days, and you're backpacking with a reasonable pack weight. Choose boots if you're carrying a heavy load, you're gonna do a lot of off-trail hiking, you're dealing with sharp, rocky terrain, or you're hiking in colder, snowy conditions, or even really deep mud where you want foot protection. The last part matters too. The best shoe is not just the one that someone online says is best. It's the one that works for you, your feet, your terrain, your pack weight, and your hiking style. But if you're a beginner or an average hiker trying to decide what to buy, I wouldn't automatically start with heavy hiking boots. I would seriously consider trail runners or lightweight hiking shoes first. So tell me, which one do you use? Do you prefer the freedom of trail runners or do you like the protection of boots? Don't be weird.